Hi, my name is Jake. This information is for those who are following the Taigetans and Svarunians disclosure information. I just wanted to let you know I have a group now made up of Astral warriors that are following the disclosure. There's about 10 or 11 of us now. It fluctuates between 10 and 12. Only active participants are allowed in there. Mostly Nexus Point souls we only let in. You have to be able to access the astral pretty much at will every night. And so I just wanted to start off, and it's been months now that we've had this group. It's been a couple months. And I wanted to start off with how this group got developed, how it all came to be, really, and my first interaction with Yazzi in the Astral. So this was maybe six months ago that I first met Yazzi in the Astral. I was just hanging out in the Astral like I normally do, doing my lucid stuff, and I saw all of these orphan children there. And all of these orphan children, they were just kind of all in their own realities. Like one was over here and one was over there and one was over there, and I could like see them all visually and like telepathically see that they were kind of locked or trapped in their own little worlds there. I was by myself. I was just monitoring them, and I was just thinking, I wonder what we could do to help these kids. And all of a sudden, out of the left comes this little girl. It looks just like Yazzi. It is Yazzi. It's her exact soul frequency. She has a katana in it. It has a little red handle or little red like fabric fabric pieces like coming off of it or whatever. And here she comes, and she comes at me. I know her. She knows me, and we just give each other a big hug. And then she asks me, and we start talking about the orphan children, and she's like, what do you think we should do to help them? And I'm just like, I don't know, what do you think we should do to help them? And then she asked me about some more personal things about somebody else that apparently she knows that I'm connected to, and then the dream ended. So that was my first, it lasted maybe like a minute. That was my first interaction with Yazzi in the Astral. Personally, I don't think she comes down to 4D very much. She's probably hanging out in 6D somewhere, just the higher densities. But every now and again she pops down into the 4D. I have a very strong telepathic communication with her. That's been going on for a year and getting increasingly clearer. And I just talked to her this morning telepathically. It was kind of like a little kick in the pants type of feel to it. She wanted me to do stuff. All the missions that we get for the group are coming from her. So anyway, that was my first interaction with Yazzi in the Astral. And ever since then, everything has unfolded just amazingly. The first mission that she gave us, so basically, she brought the group together. She just implants feelings or thoughts into my mind. And I know they're coming from somewhere else, but I feel them as my own. It's this weird symbiotic type of relationship. Our consciousnesses are almost like merged together. And so I just kept on having this feeling to get people involved in the astral work. I knew there had to be other people out there that are following disclosure, that are putting the things that Yazzi and the Taigetans and Mari and the Swaroonians are all teaching us. They're actually, I knew people were out there. I could feel them that were actually taking this stuff seriously and putting it into practice. So my goal was to find the best of the best out of the group, put them all together, and meet up in the astral and go on missions and change the world. So that's what we have been doing. So there's a lot of stories to share. So when I originally started the group, I noticed that I was not the only one in the group that has seen Yazzi in the astral. There were a couple other people. And I was like, okay, if you saw Yazzi in the astral and I saw Yazzi in the astral, maybe it's Yazzi that's putting this group together. And then I got very clearly that yes, it was Yazzi pulling all the strings from above and that she was putting all these people into play here and bringing this group together. So once I realized that, I realized, okay, Yazzi's involved and Mari's involved. And, you know, I just started to tune in more. Now, it wasn't something where I was like, every time I would go and like try to telepathically communicate with Yazzi, she was always busy playing, or, you know, she was just busy doing stuff. So she never like had the time. But the other way around, and I didn't bother her or whatever, you know, the other way around though, she always would come to me. So I just got used to, if she needed to tell me something, she'd tell me. She would communicate it to me very clearly. So it's kind of, there's definitely a two-way communication going on now, but in the beginning it was all one-way communication, pretty much, unless we met up on the astral. Then it was, you know, definitely two-way. So that's the whole story about how Yazzi's Astral Warriors group got put together. And we have some very powerful lucid dream astral warriors, a bunch of different types of starseeds. There's a very powerful Zeta starseed. And she's so psychic. She can just pick something up in the astral like crazy. She has great ideas. There's a lot of, everybody in the group is special in their own way. And so I guess I just wanted to let everybody know that I'm going to be also doing a astral news. This was my message that I got this morning from Yazzi, was that she wants me to put on an astral news, like to report what's going on in the astral. So every morning when I wake up, I'll report what I see going on in the astral. But in order to catch up to that point today, I have to kind of make a bunch of videos to fill everybody in from the very beginning. So this is the first video. This is how the group got started. And our first target was the pyramids. That was the first target that Yazzi gave me in meditation. And I heard her very clearly say, take over the pyramids. And other people also were having dreams and getting messages about the pyramids. When the messages come through, they come through in a group. It's not just one person. We're in a shared reality when we're in the astral, you know? So yeah. So the first target, the first hard target was the pyramids. And, you know, I don't know why the pyramids. I'm just basically taking orders from Yazzi and doing what I'm told. So I made an intention to spawn in the astral at the pyramids. Well, when you make an intention to spawn somewhere and there's a lot of low frequency area, you don't necessarily spawn right into the battle. You kind of spawn in a higher frequency area, because when we travel in the astral, we're traveling on we're traveling through the higher astral, where the higher frequency is, where you can move faster, where you can manifest things faster. So when the way that I manifest where I am in the astral and where I spawn in the astral is while I'm in this state in between sleep and waking, or if I wake up in a dream, I will just hold an image of the place in my head that I want to go. And sometimes it takes 10, 15, 20 seconds. You have to clearly hold the image. And now, not everything in the astral corresponds to the image you're trying to hold. So you have to be really flexible with what you're seeing and how you're this, because the astral is constantly changing. So I made an intention to spawn at the pyramids, but actually I spawned several miles outside north of the pyramids. And there were a little scuffles going on, you know, somebody getting stabbed. Now, there's a lot of battles going on the surface, where I call the middle astral realm is really where we're battling. We're also battling in the lower astral, but personally, I stick to the higher, middle, and sometimes lower astral, and I'll get into all that. There's some in the group that are in the lower astral a lot more than I am, and there's some in the group that are in the higher astral all the time, and they just won't come down to the middle astral ever because they just don't want to get caught, you know, because we get caught all the time by monsters, and they have they have technology in the astral, and they have, you know, simulation technology. They can hook you, they can trap your avatar in the astral and hook you up to machinery that happen, and I'll get into that at some point later on. So the first hard target was the pyramids, and I spawned outside of the pyramids. And now I was working my way towards the pyramids. When you're in the astral, you can ask the NPC avatars that are in there. You can tell the difference between just an NPC and a person or a starseed with consciousness that's in the astral. It's very, very clear who has consciousness and who doesn't. So in the astral, these NPC avatars, you can ask them which direction. If you spawn 8 miles outside of the pyramids and you're wondering which direction of the pyramids, you can ask the NPCs. They're part of the game. They'll tell you, oh, it's that direction. So I asked a couple of them, where are the pyramids, which direction? They pointed me in the right direction. So yeah, there was a couple of, you know, there was one person trying to get stabbed, so I saved that person, did some jujitsu on it, and basically I'm just killing people and monsters in the astral constantly, doing jujitsu on them, bashing them in, using swords, blowing them up, whatever I can do, whatever powers I'm using that specific night. So there was this little scuffle, and then I got closer and closer to the pyramids. As I was getting closer to the pyramids, I see this huge black sandstorm. And the thing reached all the way up into the higher astral. And I found out after a couple of nights of encountering this huge black sandstorm. Now, the sandstorm had these tornadoes in it, these black tornadoes in it. It had these faces, like these monster faces just morphing out of it. It was very, very intimidating. I was a little nervous, but you can't be scared in the astral. It doesn't work like that. You can't be afraid or you're going to get eaten alive. So I just decided, hey, I'm going to bust a hole through this thing with like a white light type of force field in front of me. And so I did that. I like protect myself. I went into the black sandstorm because the pyramids were inside. Come to find out that this black sandstorm was actually a dome around the pyramids. Anyway, so I busted a hole through this black sandstorm, and it was so cool. It was like, it took me like 10, 15 seconds of just having black sand and stuff just smashed in my face. I could feel it all over my astral avatar, all over my body. It was just peppering me. And I was moving through it and moving through it. And then eventually, after about 10 or 15, maybe even 20 seconds of moving through it, boom, I was on the other side. And I looked back, and there was a hole punched right where my avatar came through, a hole punched right through the black sandstorm. When I got on the other side, what I saw was a battle. There were monsters, there were creatures, there were people, there were all sorts of time period people with all sorts of different time period type, armor on and weapons and everything else. And it was pure hell. I mean, there was just fighting and battling going on everywhere for miles and miles all around the Giza pyramid sites. So I got to kicking some butt. So when you die in the astral, like dying, like your avatar dying or whatever in the astral, you have to respawn. So what happens is you get kicked back into your body because the low frequency knocks you back into 3D. So if you keep your frequency high, you can stay there longer, because the whole astral, it's all about frequency. It's all about what is the battle that we're doing. The battle is raising the frequency of the astral. It's a frequency wars. That's what's going on. So I was fighting my way here, there, and whatever. I had to respawn 8 times this one night. This was the first night heading towards the pyramids. And this was a mission that Yazzi gave me, and I had not told the group about yet. It was like the very first preliminary mission. And what happened, so I had to battle, and then I respawned outside of the sandstorm again, the black sandstorm. So then I had to punch a hole through the sandstorm again. And every time I would look back, I'd see this hole, this white hole that I had punched through. And every time I respawned and punched through it, the hole would get a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. And so I did this over and over and over again this one night for hours and hours. And I was battling, all of these monsters and everything. And like I said, I saw all of these different time periods. There were all these separate battles going on from all these different time periods. And so this was months ago, and I still remember, this is what I remember from months ago. I'm just kind of rehashing it all. So what else happened? So I battled my way, and I got, say I started 8 miles out from the pyramids outside of the sandstorm. That very first night I battled, I might have got a couple miles in. I got through the sandstorm wall a couple miles in. So that was the very first day. So that was the first mission. That was the first day. I was solo on this mission. I later, the next day I told the group about it and everything else. So I guess I'm just going to end it here at the first day mission. If you guys have any questions, just put them in the comments and I will answer them. Okay. Thank you for listening. Bye.